Investors, especially in oil, reacting today to the removal of Nicolas Maduro as the leader in Venezuela. Venezuela has about a fifth of the world's oil reserves, even more than Saudi Arabia, according to OPEC. Also, there were some suspicious bets in the markets ahead of Maduro's capture. The market for whether or not Maduro would be out of power on Polymarket climbed shortly before 10 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday night, after hovering in the low single digits for weeks, according to the Wall Street Journal. Now, what appeared to be a newly created account invested $30,000 Friday in Maduro's exit. After Maduro went into custody Saturday morning, the same investor netted more than $400,000. Polymarket did not immediately respond to Axios' request for comment over the weekend. Well, the Dow and S&P 500 moved up Friday as chip companies gained. Friday's gain marks a reversal from the first day of the trading trend of the last few years. The S&P 500 has finished lower on the first day of trading for each of the last 3 years. Well, U.S. Airlines have resumed Caribbean flights after airspace closures. After U.S. strikes in Venezuela were lifted, tens of thousands of people were stranded during the post-holiday rush after the FAA restrictions triggered mass cancellations in the region. Airlines received complaints from some users on X saying they couldn't find available seats until the end of this week. And Steak 'n Shake is marking America's 250th anniversary this year with a $2.50 Patriot milkshake, which will be featured this month. The photos on social media show a milkshake adorned with whipped cream and a cherry with red, white, and blue sprinkles and a small American flag on top of the frozen treat. Well, interest payments on the federal deficit are expected to hit $1 trillion this year. Courts reports in 2020, interest payments on the national debt totaled $345 billion, so it's about tripled since then. The U.S. owes lenders more than $38 trillion. The CEO of Saks stepped down as the company is dealing with lots of debt. Mark Metrick is leaving as chief executive as the company may file for bankruptcy. Saks, which also owns Neiman Marcus, missed an interest payment on Tuesday. Now, Saks had to cope with concerns about consumers spending on luxury goods while consumers were pressured by inflation. And this week we get a monthly jobs report that's on Friday. This will be the first one that includes a full month of government data since the shutdown. In fact, we get a few reports on the job market this week, so we'll have a sense of how the labor market's shaping up. Some tech leaders are concerned that the AI race will exhaust available land and energy. The solution may be in space. Google announced in November it's working with Project Suncatcher, a space data center project that would begin test launches in 2027. Elon Musk said at a recent conference that space data centers would be the cheapest way to train AI. Apple is expected to drop major product announcements this year, including a foldable iPhone and a new Siri. Apple's launch events could also look different this year. Apple's health features, like a new fitness product with workout programs and something called Time to Walk, which pairs storytelling with music for people to listen to while they're walking. Well, Netflix reportedly wants to keep movies in theaters for just 17 days after it buys Warner Brothers Discovery. In a report from Deadline on the Stranger Things season 5 finale, which made $25 million in theaters, Netflix did indicate, according to this article, that it could shorten the window that shows are in the movie theaters. Now, movies typically stay in theaters for 30 to 60 days, but blockbusters can stay for months. China's BYD, an electric car maker, is now the world leader in EV sales. It surpassed Tesla in sales last year. Tesla sales were down 9% for all of 2025 and dropped 16% in the fourth quarter compared to a year ago. Well, OPEC Plus kept oil output unchanged on Sunday after a quick meeting that avoided discussion of the political crises affecting several of the producer group's members. Sunday's meeting of the OPEC Plus, which pumps about half of the world's oil, came after oil prices fell more than 18% last year. Well, if you bought beef between 2014 and 2019, you may be eligible for part of a cash settlement. Multiple meat manufacturers have been accused in a class action lawsuit of entering a non-compete agreement to increase beef prices. As a result, customers may have overpaid and may be eligible for compensation. Named in the federal lawsuit are JBS USA Food, Swift Beef, JBS Packerland, Cargill Meat Solutions, National Beef Packing, Tyson Foods, and Tyson Fresh Meats. Customers who want to know more about their options and the deadline dates to file a claim can go to overchargedforbeef.com. Last month, a study that said the chemical in Roundup herbicide was safe for human consumption was retracted by the scientific journal that published it a quarter century ago. The EPA still considers the herbicide to be safe, but the federal government faces a deadline this year to re-examine glyphosate's safety after legal action brought by the environmental, food safety, and farm worker advocacy groups. The spokesperson for the herbicide said glyphosate was the most extensively studied herbicide over the past 50 years, and that the vast majority of published studies have no Monsanto involvement. Fitness apps are soaring in popularity, and that's expected to continue this year. Fitness apps generated almost $4 billion in revenue in 2024, an 11% increase from the year prior. Now, Peloton generated the most revenue of all the fitness apps. 345 million people use fitness apps in 2024. Fitness apps were downloaded 850 million times that year. Well, researchers have invented a safer alternative to the special paper used to print receipts that is completely free of so-called forever chemicals. These man-made substances have been linked to a wide range of health problems, including certain cancers, hormone disruption, reproductive issues, and abnormal fetal development. The Swiss scientists used wood to make the paper. Now, the researchers say more work is needed to improve the print quality and scale up production.